Hi guys, it's Ania from Interior Design Hub, back again today with a how-to step-by-step make your portfolio on Publisher. I am so excited to share this video with you guys today. This was a highly requested video for me to go through step-by-step how I would actually design a portfolio. And you know what? I actually haven't done one in a really long time, so this was great practice for me. Just kind of going through the, what would inspire me to do, what kind of portfolio would I do now, how would I lay it out, and just kind of putting it together for you in a way that just shows the basics of like how I would actually build that foundation for a great portfolio. And I think that's one of the things is that what I hear a lot is that people overthink what it takes to make a portfolio, and they use really complicated programs. Like I know some people say that they use InDesign, and InDesign is a wonderful program, but it is a harder program to use. It's kind of like using Photoshop, and I just don't think you need to complicate it that much. So in today's video, we're going to do it on Publisher, because Publisher is a program that's really readily available on most Microsoft products or complements. So one of the things with creating your portfolio is really to highlight a part of you. And although the layout and the background and all that kind of stuff is subjective, I would do something that kind of, just feels like you and that you're proud of, and it doesn't have to be overly complicated. I like a lot more simple. I also like the color pink. So I just did something that really was more to my style. And you know what? If you have a really particular company, maybe you adjust that color. Like maybe you're applying to HOK and you do red and white because their colors are red and white. So, you can do stuff like that. Play around with it. The biggest thing that, and you're going to see this as I do the portfolio, you have to go back and forth and adjust. Spend the time to save it as a PDF and then look at it. And if something doesn't look right, fix it. Don't leave weird little things that don't line up or don't sit straight. Like those are the details that matter. And I say spend the time, create your first like 3 or 4 pages, get them the way you want to get them, and then, build from there. But really spending the time on just laying out, making sure things line up. Edges are like nice, you don't have weird gaps, or if something looks a little bit off, that you just go with your gut and fix it. That kind of just visual stimulation and making sure that as a designer, you're also creating a portfolio that looks well designed is really the point. So, so let's jump into the video where I show you the step-by-step how to create your portfolio. All right, I'm excited to show you guys the how I do a portfolio on Publisher. Now, just trying to get those other sauce. So the first thing we want to start with is we want to find a good example image. And it's not necessarily that we're going to copy it. It's more that we need something to inspire us. Like simple is best, but that's what I was looking at the other day. But definitely being inspired by something is a good way to go, and there's nothing wrong with that because you're going to create your own anyways. So portfolio design layout, let's see. Oh, that's pretty. I like the pink. So I'm liking this because it's fairly simple. It's just some block coloring, it's really not anything crazy. They look like they have this peach color, black and gray, and then obviously white, which I like, and I like how they do the boxes. So I think this is going to be basically my inspiration. So let's lay that out. It's really easy, to be honest with you, but we will start with, I think I want to do kind of that, not the whole page in one color. I think I want to do something a little bit more sectioned because I think it kind of has that visual interest. So I do take my box right off the edges. I find for printing, I'm safe that way. I don't get anything wonky. There will still usually be a bit of a white gap because that's just natural with printing if you print out a actual copy. But when it comes to printing out on or digitizing this and doing a PDF, it will look really good. Now, I don't want this weird outline. I don't like that. So solid color. I like that. It's pink. I know it's pink, but who cares? It feels like me today. I'm going with what I feel like today. I'm going to also add in a little border line here, I think, just to give it a little bit of texture and separation. And what I like is that this is like the most user-friendly program. So I want to go by my weight. I think I want to beef her up a bit. And then I also want to change the color. I think I'm going to go with like a gray and pink effect here. I like that gray that was, oh, maybe that's too dark. Yeah, I like that. So now we're going to add in some of our writing. And I'm just trying to decide, like, do I want to just put my name up here, or would I want to put it down here? I might just put portfolio down here in like not super noticeable, and then put the name bold. And I am just going to use my business name because this is for YouTube, and yeah. Oh, here's another question. Do I still want to, do I want to do another little box? Oh. Once you get it started, the hardest part, I'm going to be honest with you, is getting it started. Just kind of trying to figure out how I really want this to read. I'm not sure yet if I like that. And, oh, by the way, what I really like about Publisher is you can just kind of put your stuff, matches that, off to the side, which is good if you're kind of playing with something, because sometimes you're just like, I don't know. Oops, sorry. If that's really what I want. Okay, so another thing is you really want to pick a good font. So the font that I use on all of my design, like my website, not website, sorry. The font that I'm using on most of my YouTube stuff is this Gill Sans font. I just kind of like it. So I'm gonna look at, I don't know if I just want the original. I might do it bolder. Just trying to figure out thickness and whatnot. We might have to change it still, and that's, you know, this is all part of the playing. I think that's the part that you really have to play a lot with, kind of figuring out how you want it to sit. And you know, I just thought of something. Another thing I could do here, actually, as I'm doing this, I'm actually thinking I might bring in my logo. Okay, and so another thing with this I should just let you know is you can drag and drop. So if you have files, you can just drag and drop them right in. I actually think I'm going to use my logo because I just realized that makes probably more sense. But I do like that. And then now I know what I'm going to do. I feel much better about it. Okay, see, it just takes a minute to kind of play with it. Go like this. And we are going to, hopefully I spell this right. And now I'm going to change the color. And I want this to be like the same light color like that. And then I might even make that a little bolder. I might actually go even lighter, to be honest. And I might go a little larger. Like that. Now, what I would do is do a duplicate page, although I'm not going to obviously be using this on it. Wow, sorry for the banging. So, because I know my colors now, I do want to try and create a consistent theme. So I don't need to think too crazy here. Oh, I just had an idea. What if this line stays on each page at the same part and I do my write-ups maybe there? So basically all I'm doing is color blocking the page. I'm going to show you a quick screenshot of what it, like when it's completed, not a quick screenshot. I'm going to show you what it'll look like when you actually print it out as a JPEG or a PDF, so you'll see that it indeed makes sense. I'm just thinking I might do a another box here in this, maybe like this light gray color, and bring that in as well. Now, another thing is if you want this to be above something, you just send it back. So now I've got this color blocking, and I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this yet. I'm still kind of just playing with it. And what I'm doing is I'm just creating a few different layouts, and then I might not use them all. I'm just trying to play with basically the construction of my portfolio. I really want to kind of nail that down. I'll take a look at my inspiration again. I've got a few inspirations, to be honest with you. Like, I really like how they have, see the two. Sometimes what I also try to think about is I might adjust a page once I have the pictures in it. So I'm just kind of taking a look for ideas on how they did that. And I actually think this is too dark. Blends into the background, but I think that actually does look better. So we've got our cover page, which I always like to start with. And this page is always a little bit different than the rest anyways. And then we kind of bring this theme, which we're going to roll through the remainder of the pages. And so far, it looks kind of strange, but obviously when it's all printed, it won't look weird. And I think I'm going to do one more layout because I don't really need much more than that, but I do have an idea here for one more. I'm going to do a juxtaposition here off the line a little bit. And then I might actually pull this one all the way down. Which, sorry, it's blending away, but I do really like the look of those two together. Okay, and I am keeping this line throughout. Right now, I'm kind of liking this as a, I don't know, it's one of those, it's the consistent thing in all of them, which I do really like. So now we're gonna bring in, and I've already got these all ready. I kind of think I like this one better. I like this one, and that one. So I think I'm just gonna delete this one because I don't like it. All right, let's drag and drop in our first picture. So scale is another thing. It really depends on how much information you want to include. One thing I do kind of like the thought of is kind of lining this up. But then again, it doesn't really, I think it's going to be too much wasted space. So we can do that. Now I do save my write-ups for last because I kind of need to figure out my placement first before I do my write-ups. Always remember to save your work as you go. I'm not probably going to actually come up with a write-up, but hey, this is a cool project that I worked on. It was XX square feet, and we redesigned X, Y, and Z. Now let's get our style here again. I would not do black. If you're kind of doing a theme like this, keep it on theme, keep it on brand. And I am actually gonna do this little juxtaposition here. I think it looks kind of neat. I think I'm actually gonna do this all left justified. I think that would look really nice. Now, obviously, most people, you know, I'm just gonna do blah, blah, blah. Now, I just wanna look at that. It looks a little bit too big. Kind of have to play with it according to how you want it to look. And then basically this is what we're going to continue, copy. And location wise, I would play with each page, right? Like on this one, I would probably do this way because it just looks nicer, so that's okay. It doesn't have to be always the same way. It's fairly straightforward. And I think the biggest thing to take away from this is that doing your portfolio doesn't need to be overly complicated. I think a lot of people put too much into it. If you wanted, you could even, you know, here's another idea that I have done before and I actually really like. Oops. I would rotate this. Maybe, do something like this is another idea to do something like that. So there's lots of, easy ways to jazz it up. You don't need to, recreate the wheel here. And then now what I would do is I would take these 3 styles, because I want to do repetitive. Okay. And I would probably keep going in the same order. I want to show another way that I might do a layout, like if you don't have, if you want to show maybe some concept sketches as well. So here's a project that I have worked on, or am working on, I should say, for something like this where I might have a multiple, especially if it's something where you have the concept and then the rendering or whatever, where it's not an actual project. I would probably include the concept sketch. And the reason why I like to show some of my work, basically, which is just like when you're a student, show your work. Remember those? I know this kind of clashes, but the reason why I would maybe show that is to kind of explain, like, this was the concept, this is the rendering, if it hasn't been made yet. So this is kind of more in a student situation where you may have some work that you want to show, and I would still try to make more of the completed project, your highlighted project, and then show your work, maybe as like some sidebar, kind of smaller somewhere, and play with that layout. But I think this looks really nice. All right, so I've kind of showed how I would build that. I don't want to take up hours on this, but that's kind of a concept. And then I would just keep repeating that, however many pages you have. And then the nice thing with Publisher is we just go save as PDF. You can save it as a JPEG. So I'm just going to save it as a PDF. Here we have what it would actually look like once it's as a PDF. So you can see the edges are all nice. So we've got a nice layout, crisp image. Always make sure you're picking a crisp image. We have our graphic detail. I might see, and this is a good thing, sometimes maybe check it halfway through. I kind of think I actually would move this over just a smidge, like the whole thing, maybe to about here. So that's another thing. Sometimes once you start looking at it, you're like, oh, I don't really like that gap, so I might change it. So that is another thing. You kind of, once you print it out, you might need to make a couple adjustments. Overall though, I like the feel, I like the color, I like the little bit of detail, the write-up. I'm not in love with this. Yeah, I might actually keep it in the pink. And that's the thing, sometimes once you see it, you have to do a few pages and see it. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, I actually might just keep that a little bit more condensed. So you have to play, right? Oh, and here we got cut off. Okay, so now I go back in. It's a simple, easy adjustment. I'm going to change this. And that's the thing, you have to play with it a little bit, but overall, you will find that this program is super quick. And I don't know why my spacing on this is so wide. I gotta fix that. The other option too is I could have just created another box altogether for this over top. I could have overlaid it, changed it, but I mean, that's I think the one thing with a portfolio and doing a portfolio is playing around a little bit with the first few pages, and then you will figure out how you want it to look. And then, yeah, it's just kind of being a little bit finicky with it. I'm just going to delete these extra pages because we don't need them. Okay, so let's take a look at this. We like our cover page. Page 2, I like that I've adjusted this gap here. It looks a little better. This needs to be lined up a bit better. This is the biggest part when you're doing your portfolio, is details like this. So this doesn't line up. I would fix that. Ooh, wrong button. All right, I like this much better with the write-up, more organized. I'm not loving this, but I could do the write-up here. So I might fix that, might change that. Again, it is a little bit about playing. This I really like. I think this looks quite nice. And you can still include multiple pictures, and then I would do like an explanation as to what this is, why it was designed, what your thought was around that. But again, not too much. People aren't going to really read a ton of it. So try to be as concise as possible. And then I would just keep repeating that process. All right, guys, so that's how you make a portfolio. I mean, I know it seems like that's it, but it really doesn't need to be too complicated. As you've seen, I think it looks quite nice. This is just a very simple how-to to get you started. I would say the biggest thing is, find something that inspires you, a style that you like, a graphic kind of image, and then recreate your own version of that and make it your own. Try to keep your write-ups simple, easy to follow, and just clean. I think that's the biggest thing with a portfolio is it's really clean. And when you send it off to somebody or you're sitting in an interview and you're reviewing it, they'll ask you more questions. Another thing to highlight is I was just showing one residential project, and I've talked about it in my other video. If you haven't watched it, check it out, where I go into layout structure and highlighting your best project first, or a project that's tailored to the company that you're applying for. By that I mean, if it's a commercial interior design firm, you probably don't want to start with a residential project. You probably want to start with anything that has a commercial feel to it, or commercial, like whether you're a student or whether you've done a commercial project, show that first. Or if you're applying to residential, then don't show a commercial first. So go to that video, check it out if you haven't. It kind of explains why that matters, and also making sure that you highlight your best projects first. Another good thing to show and highlight is some before and after work, and this is really important. Say you have that really nice shot that I showed you guys, I would put a before picture maybe as the smaller picture. So make sure that the final image is the highlighted image, the one sealing the show, but don't make it too busy. Like maybe 2-3 pictures on a page would ever be the max that I would show. If you have more than that of a space, you might need to spread it out on a couple more pages or edit. All right, guys. That's everything for today. If you have more questions about portfolio, or if there's something that I missed that you really want me to cover, let me know in the comments below, and I'll definitely get it together for another video. And if you're enjoying this content, I would really appreciate it if you would hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. It really does help me out, and it's free. All right, guys, until next time, bye.